Okay, guys, so like if you watch the second part of the Rubber Mouse stream, you probably are going to be wondering, why am I making another tier list? But for the people who are just watching this as the first video, you're probably not going to be as confused. But unfortunately, I have to remake the whole tier list because the damn audio in the background wasn't playing. But I'm completely fine with redoing the map tier list because I feel like I could probably make some improvements. But the first map we have is Haunted Mansion. Puzzle's pretty good. Map still honestly holds up. Like, this map is insanely old. Pretty sure it's literally the oldest map in the game. But it still holds up compared to more maps we have later on. Like, most people that hate this map probably, like, I mean, it's obviously overplayed, but this map is honestly still really good compared to most other maps, but put in pretty decent for now. Alright, up next we have Yorick's Resting Place. Now, this map, I really have a soft spot for this map for some reason. The Red Robin puzzle and the Secret Fish Cave are really cool for some reason. And it's just a really nice map to explore for some reason. Plus the puzzles aren't too, like, insanely easy to beat. They still can be kind of tricky. So I'd still, like, say this would probably stay at like the top of pretty decent because I really like this map for some reason. It's just really enjoyable. Alright, now the next map we have is Lab, in which this map is like, it's of course insanely iconic, but like I somewhat have a soft spot for the old version, but it's like this map is also really mazed out in this first version before it got revamped like later on. I think in the Ice Cold package or the final, I forgot which update it was. But the first version's still honestly kind of fun, and I would honestly put it here because it's fun, but it's like, holy, it is so easy for Bear to catch up to onto you. And like, there's no higher ground. Sure, there's like crates and stuff and the wire puzzles, but those are all like glued to walls and also like in small rooms, so you can't really run anywhere on the map, so you kind of just have to hope that you're like far away from Bear. But for the second version, this map slightly improved in my opinion, honestly. I wouldn't say it's better than Yorick's though, but the current version we have of Lab is so much more like explorable. It's so much more wide open. Plus, there's quite a bit of secret stuff to do on the map, since there's the Red Robin forecast thing you can see, there's the Spob subplace you can go down into, and I'm pretty sure there might be one other thing, but I don't really know. But the outdoor area, the puzzles are still fairly balanced, despite there being only one color code. Same with a few of these other maps, like Cheese Factory, or I'm pretty sure it's like Sunset Plain, or I forgot which map it was, I'll just get to it later. But it's still a pretty good map. They slightly improved in my eyes, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's bad. Now for Monochrome. The first version of Monochrome was really small, despite there being like the massive like skies and like it's a wide open map, but like this map still feels really small. Or not really, it was really small, but I would almost put it in very mid, but it's like, it's still decent when you like compare it to most maps, but I honestly might put it in like really low decent tier. Like, it barely manages to get out of very mid, but like, I don't think it would be at least somewhere in pretty decent, because like the puzzles are really annoying. The color code, like, even though that was somewhat easy, like it still can be like really hard for some reason. I don't know why, because like even though the color code can spawn like right next to it, it can be like on the other side of the map. And also the other puzzles are like really easy. So I mean, thankfully the puzzles, like, they're annoying of course, but they're kind of balanced. But at the same time, it's also really easy for Bear to come and kill the survivors, and sometimes survivors can also like never come near the bear. Like, it's honestly kind of a mixed map, so that's why it's like really, really low here. But the second version, however, this one improved quite a bit, so I'd put it all the way above both of the lab versions, honestly, because it's so much more open. It's not this like cramped in anymore, and the puzzles are like so much more spread apart. Because like even though they already kind of were spread apart, the colored, of course, the colored code at times, and even the cheese altar were really close by each other. But since they removed the cheat or the color code and replaced it with the VHS, even though the VHS is already fairly close to it, it is actually quite a bit trickier to do the cheese and even some of the wire puzzles because of how somewhat spaced out they are, even though at the same time they are kind of close, but they just somewhat balanced the map out a bit more, made it bigger, and also made it like more polished because it's just nicer now. It's nicer. That's literally all I care about right now, but I wouldn't say it's insanely good. It's just pretty decent, which holy, I was so tempted to put this in very mid, but the current version we have thankfully actually just staples it on by a little bit. Now for Undead Coming II. Many people don't really remember the old version of this map, but thankfully I do. But the first version of Undead Coming is honestly like almost the same situation as Monochrome's first version. Like, the map is really iconic, like its old version, and it's fairly nostalgic since, like, the wire puzzle being next to the bear, like, almost everyone knew that's how the bear spawned, and also the houses were, like, kind of bigger, but at the same time they were smaller. But thankfully, the current version we have, like, we can actually walk through the map now, but, like, at the same time, it's like the sewers on this map was open, and like sure, I'm pretty sure it was mainly close because of a Frosty getting like highly leaked, but I really wish they kept the sewers for this map. And speaking of, the second version is honestly like a smudge bit better. Like, it's not a little, but it's like quite a bit better. But some things that do kind of make it worse is like the puzzles can sometimes be too hard, but like that is in really rare occasions. And also they blocked off the sewer, so you can't really run from the bear anymore, even though at the same time you could say like the sewers like made it harder for the bear to catch up to the survivors. So the map's still decent for where it is currently, but like it's also kind of bad at the same time. Like, this map is almost like one of the definitions of just a straight mid-fine map. Like, that's practically what this map is, in my opinion. And then we have System Crypt. Yeah. This is literally one of the only like 2 or 3 maps that's going in here, because oh my god, this map is just so damn unbalanced. Like, it's still fairly dark, because thankfully maps like Hospital Nightmare 6 and S.O.S, they've been brightened, but this map is still fairly dark despite all the torches around the map. But the bear can have such a hard time killing the survivors, or it's the other way around. The puzzles at times can be really easy or really hard to do, and you can just almost barely remember where you are on the map. Like, I'm still fairly good at playing on System Crypt, but holy, for some reason, this map is just so damn unbalanced, and it's not even funny. Like, I really wish they when are they adding that remake? I can't tell if it's scrapped or canceled, but holy, I really wish they would just add the remake, because this map definitely needs a remake. Like, even if it doesn't even get a remake, like, at least like polish out the map a bit, because like this is one of the only old maps left in the game, and holy, it's one of the only ones that needs a revamp, because like Haunted and Yorick's are probably not getting remade, but System Crypt really needs a remake. Well, up next we have Abandoned School, in which, even though I literally said this about Lab, I'm putting it there. I'm putting it there. Because this map, like, sure, it can be kind of hard to survive, because, like, even the map, like, this version's map is so weirdly built, but for some reason, it is just so iconic, and it's also fairly nostalgic, too. But it's like, my god, it is just really fun to play this version of the map for some reason, because of course there's the 6 puzzles, and also this was back then when the wire puzzles were kind of bugged. But this map is still really fun when you compare it to most other maps, because like it's fairly big, you can explore through it despite its cramped size. Like, finding the Halloween areas at first was really exciting to do for some reason. And it was just all around like an enjoyable map for some reason. But the second version, like, I wouldn't put here, but I'd still just put like slightly under, because like the map is a lot more bigger now, of course, but like it just doesn't have the same touch anymore. Like, it's a lot bigger, well, kind of, because like it's kind of like the same size, but like this map just doesn't feel as enjoyable anymore. There's like actual classrooms, there's like the gym, well, it's bigger, and there's the library room plus the cafeteria, but it's like it just doesn't feel fun anymore for some reason. I don't know why. Like, the map's just not fun. Like, I kind of wish they added some old traits from the old map, which, I mean, they kind of did. They re-added the Halloween stuff, and also the puzzles are a somewhat bit different, but it's like I just still kind of prefer the first version over the second version a little bit, but once again, that's just my opinion. Alright, now the next map on the list is Backrooms, because I did not play Arctic Valley, unfortunately, even though the map, or boss fight, I guess, from what I've seen, was actually not half bad. But for Backrooms, this map is going slightly, yeah, like slightly above Lab, because even though all the first versions of Lab, Backrooms, and Abandoned School, I still honestly, or I mean also System Crypt, but I honestly find Backrooms and Abandoned School to be enjoyable maze maps, because even though maze maps are kind of annoying, the first version of Backrooms was pretty fun, because like even though the walls were like pretty big in the older versions, there was the secret room. And that was like really exciting to find for some reason, even though there literally wasn't much. But the map was just so, like, for some reason back then, it was just so fun to play on. Like, holy. Because, I mean, the puzzles, like, didn't really change, but the, like, I don't know why. It was, like, it was just so simple. Like, the only difference was that the walls were bigger and the secret room was actually there. But for some reason, like, I guess you could say like the reputation the map had back then, like it was just so fun for some reason. But then the map got slightly tweaked. I'm pretty sure it was in the revisited update, in which, even though I said Monochrome would probably be at the bottom of this, I'd put the current version of Backrooms here instead, honestly, because like the map isn't bad now. Like, they made the lighting better, the walls aren't as big, but they closed off the secret area for some reason. And also, it is so much harder to survive on this map for some reason, despite such little changes. Mainly because, like, I'm pretty sure the wide walls actually kind of saved you a bit from bear, because they had to, like, walk around a bit further. Because nowadays they can just, like, stick to the wall and they pass through the corner. So, like, unfortunately, this map became more bear-sided, kind of, but I mean, it is kind of hard to win as bear at the same time, because survivors can, like, hide on such random spots that can just win fairly easily, but it's like Backrooms just doesn't feel fun anymore in this game for some reason. I don't really know why. Alright, now next up we have is Sewage Domain. Now, this one can be a bit confusing when it comes to saying it's like good or not, but like you would, like for me honestly, I would squeeze it probably like just under Haunted, or maybe just under the first version of Undead Coming. But this map, like, it's barely been changed since it got first released, but holy, I just don't like this map for some reason. Like, it can be so one-sided comparing on how, like, when it comes to comparing if they are good or not. Like, if they're good, then maybe the survivors will win, but if they're bad, then it's maybe more than likely that the bears will win. Or you could say that the other way around, I don't really know, but there are so many damn ladders and like trusses in this map that bear can so easily catch up to you. The only way you can actually run from bear is like using all your sprint to run down like hole after hole, which will confuse bear, or unless they're insanely lucky and they somehow still know where you are. But this map just feels so unbalanced for some reason. Thankfully they added a fourth puzzle though, because this map back then only used to have 3 puzzles, which was really annoying, but thankfully they added 4, which somewhat bumps it up a bit, but like this is still honestly a very mid map, but it's not like insanely mid like System Crypt is, but it is like really close to there. Alright, next we have probably the weirdest change in any map in Bear Alpha, which is Hospital Nightmare. Now for Hospital Nightmare 6, I'd honestly put this map all the way just below Yorick's resting place, because even though of course I kind of hate this map, and also it is really tricky to do all the puzzles on this version, but I still found it really fun to play on, because there was just so many new things to like look at the time, because like for the time this was like a really impressive map. But like the old area, like before it became Resurrection, like the newer areas in the map, like the survivor spawn, even the cave area, like stuff like that was like really fun to like explore through. But some things that did nerf it though were like the spots for the puzzles, because I could barely even do like 3 puzzles at times, and also the cave areas are so damn dark. Like that was a massive problem for ages before the resurrection came. But oh my, like you can rather say this map is pretty good or it's just not fun. But honestly for me, I find the map really fun. And speaking of Hospital Nightmare, up next we have Hospital Nightmare Resurrection, in which, I mean, I will kind of miss the old version for nostalgia, but I'd honestly put this up in there and insanely good. Like, it's sad watching old maps go, but it's also really nice at the same time whenever they like revamp it, and it's actually worth the revamp despite the old version sadly going away. But the amount of stuff you can go through in this map is like insane. Like the fact that you're supposed to be like a detective on the map makes it like really, like not really, but like kind of unique. And also like there's several other things you can look through, like the like pool area, I guess, like the sewers, even the subway area. Like it's just such a unique map despite it being a hospital map. Like even though it's not really as much of a hospital map, I still find the map like really fun to play on, despite there only being like one area on the map that represents a hospital, which is the bear spawn. But they made this map so much better, and for good reasons. Like even like it's fairly balanced between survivors and bears. Like bears like somewhat challenging to kill survivors, but it's also kind of easy. And the puzzles, despite this being one of the only maps alongside Abandoned School to have more than 4 puzzles, it is still fairly balanced with the puzzles. Like, the wire puzzles are a little bit tricky. The baby altar, I guess, is a little tricky. Same with the color code, but at the same time, they are kind of easy. So this is all around a pretty good map, and I'm fairly happy that they actually balanced it quite well, despite the map being quite a bit different compared to the first version. Alright, now next up, we have the several different versions of Final Hour, and surprisingly enough, I've played all 4 of these, in which, shockingly enough, I'd put the first version all the way up here, above all these remakes. Even Backrooms' first version, except, I mean, that map doesn't really have much, but the first version of Final Hour, like, it was really basic. Like, there was, like, almost nothing you could do on the map, but it just felt so nostalgic for some reason. And the lighthouse area, like, it felt really nice being able to run from Bear in there. And it was also kind of hard for Bear to actually catch up to you on the map. But I mean, at the same time, the map is really small, so that's saying quite a lot if the bear is like trying to catch you, because like, how is it hard for the bear to get you despite the map being really small? It's kind of confusing, but the map is still really fun to play on, or was really fun. I mean, I'm pretty sure you could still play it in the Corridor of Time, but I mean, I barely count stuff for the, or I barely count playing stuff in the Corridor of Time. I mainly count stuff for if I actually played it or not. So I mean, stuff like Old Cheese Factory or Old Happy Terror unfortunately won't count. Even these two, even though they're not in the Corridor of Time. But anyways, back to the actual ranking. I'd honestly say Final Hour version 2 is probably the weakest version, or just the straight up worst version, in which I'd only put it above Backrooms because there's still quite a bit of stuff to do on this map. Because the tall lighthouse is pretty cool, the cave area actually being like explorable, same with the slide into the cave area was pretty cool. But it's like, at the same time, this map just felt so underwhelming, even though this was supposed to be a major update for the game. But it just still felt really underwhelming in my eyes. And also, this map is literally one of the worst maps when it comes to glitches, because you can so easily glitch through the map, which, man, I wish they patched that quicker. Because I don't even know if they patched that before, like, the third version came out, which, speaking of the third version, ooh, this one's kinda tricky. Like, it's literally just version 1, but more improved. But at the same... yeah, I'd put it above version 1. Because it's like... of course, not too many people like the second version, including myself, even though the map still was kind of fun to explore. But I honestly kind of preferred them just having the map be like this, because holy, it is a lot more fun to look through this map when it's like this version, because of course the second version's still decent. It's not terrible, but like, I just prefer the original style. And like, the fact that they actually like added a few things from the first version back into the map, of course, the style of the map, but at the same time they added a few things from the second map. Like, I think the car was there, and there's also the entire beach area, which that was actually really cool. But they actually made the map slightly more balanced, not only because I'm pretty sure they added 4 puzzles back onto the original version, because I think version 1 actually only had 3 puzzles, but the map is so much more balanced now in this current state, and I'm really happy they changed it like this, because if they kept it like the first version or the second, like, it wouldn't be too bad, but the map would be insanely unbalanced comparing it to other stuff. But now we have the fourth version that we somewhat recently got. I'm putting this above Hospital Nightmare Resurrection. Like, this is such a clean version of the map. Like, even though it's only Final Hour version 3, but like more polished, the polishing is so much better. The cave area is bigger, the ocean part is like slightly different. Even the bear spawn in the lighthouse area is like slightly tweaked. Plus, they brought back the underground area that was removed from both kind of version 2, but also version 3, which is wild to think that the underground area at Survivor Spawn was only in versions 1 and 4. But thankfully, they actually, like, it's pretty much just adding more stuff from version 1 and 2, even version 3, because version 3 I'm pretty sure actually did have a few new things, but version 4 is so clean now, and the map actually looks so polished. Well, I mean, even though this is like an insanely new remake, but still, they made this map look so much better comparing it to the older maps, because even though, once again, this is a newer map, this is one of the oldest maps in the game, so comparing it to other maps is insane at where its current point is, even though, like, later on, when we get to stuff like Underwater Woods or Crazy Port, since those came out, I'm pretty sure near the same time, but just massive glow up on Final Hour version 4, and I'm really happy this is probably going to be the finalized version of Final Hour, which is kind of nice. Alright, now next up we have is Underwater Woods, as I just mentioned, in which this is still a really small map, even though we have the version 2, but this map is really, really enjoyable despite its small size. The reasoning itself to have it be all the way up here, just slightly above version 2 lab, because the first version, I'm pretty sure, is literally one of the smallest maps in the game, if you don't count stuff like the Winter Stronghold or the Valley, or even some of the older maps like Crazy Port or Anemoia. But besides that, this just felt really fun for some reason, because even though it is like the map's really small, so bears and survivors are still fairly close to each other, the puzzles on this map actually felt somewhat challenging despite its small size. Like, even though the cheese, the wire puzzle, and the color code at times could spawn at survivor spawn on 2 spots, since I'm pretty sure there's only 3 on the first version, the map still felt challenging, because like bear could very quickly come to this survivor spawn and start killing everyone. So this map still honestly felt very balanced despite its small size. But for the second version, this is going slightly above both Final Hour version, because I mean, these are almost the exact same, but the current version we just got of Underwater Woods, it's better. Like, unfortunately, it doesn't feel as fun anymore, but the map is still really good. Like, the puzzles are even more balanced, surprisingly. I don't even know how they pulled that off, even though the wire puzzle at first was bugged. But this map is so much more balanced, and I am genuinely surprised they could actually balance it out more. Like, really impressive. Plus, the bear and survivor spawn is a lot more balanced now, since the survivors are like caged in, and the bear is also kind of caged in, but with like planks and stuff. Also, the amount of new areas too, I forgot to stack that on. It is so much nicer with all the new areas you can explore. Plus, with some areas being expanded, like, of course, even though the survivor spawn, for example, got remade, there are so many new areas. There are like little rooms, I guess, that are in there now, and it is so nice that they actually expanded a few areas, which I'm really happy with what they've done with Underwater Woods. But unfortunately, I will also kind of miss the old version, but still good map. And now, Anemoia. Yeah, I'm putting it there. like, I, oh my, this map is so overrated for literally almost no reason. And even though the main reason is probably because Ito's on the map, you can't get him anymore. Even if you glitch into the area, I'm pretty sure he doesn't even reward you the badge. It's like, why do people keep picking this map? Like, sure, the puzzles are really easy, but that's a problem. The puzzles are so damn easy on this map. Plus, they got rid of the color code, in which technically you could count this map as 2 versions, but I honestly don't. But holy, I just hate this map because it is so overpicked. It's so small, and even though they like increased some areas in the map, it's still such a mid map for me. Like, I just don't like it. It's so annoying. Like, it is like, I am genuinely surprised the difference between Anemoia and version 2 Backrooms. Like, that's how annoying these 2 maps in specific are, and maybe another map from here, but not yet. Alright, now we have S.O.S, in which I somehow seen like tons of people say that this map is really bad, which I mean, I can kind of see why, but I honestly would put, like, it's just like, I mean, they came out like almost near the same time. Like, S.O.S and Underwater Woods, for their time being in the 2020 week sale, like, holy, they were fun maps, because I kind of played the 2020 week sale, but not really. But I wish they did the same with this map, but they just didn't. But S.O.S was just super fun for some reason before it got remade, because, like, sure, the map was so much more enclosed, but the map just felt so nice to walk around. Like, the old portal area that's in the icon for the map, like the wire puzzles, like that, yeah, that the one near survivor spawn, even some areas near bear, like the cheese altar area, plus the area where you could walk into the like sewage area that had like the bear was here thingy. That was really cool to like look around, and also the map just felt so nice to play on, in which the second version still isn't bad, but I'd honestly put it just a slight bit, like literally a sliver under Underwater Woods. I don't even know if that makes sense, but even though the map is so much more bigger now because there's an actual outdoor area, the survivor spawn is a lot more different, and a few things in the like near the bear spawn have been tweaked, including like new areas like the smoke room, and also like the higher areas have been like changed quite a bit, but it just doesn't hit as much because I mean, for both versions, at least they like somewhat balanced out the puzzles and the bears. So I mean, it's not too bad. Even some hiding spots aren't too bad, despite its like very limited light source throughout the map. But I mean, version 1, version 2, still not too bad. Version 1's just slightly better in my eyes, even though version 2 is so much more polished, which I can agree with that. But I just honestly prefer version 1 more. Like, this is like this map and Abandoned School are practically one of the only 2 maps, maybe if I'm forgetting one here, but these are like one of the only 2 maps that like actually don't really like affect the map as much once it gets changed. Because I mean, of course I mainly like the first version from nostalgia, but I just like S.O.S's and Abandoned Schools like first like look throughout the map and version before they got like slightly tweaked in their second versions. So yeah, that's mainly why these 2 are like that, but I'm somewhat getting off topic. So next map. Alright, now for Assembly, in which I'm pretty sure there is 3 versions, because there's the when the map first came out, I think in pre-anniversary, then got remade in like, I think it was like near Christmas or something, or the revisited update, and then it also got updated into the current version we have in the I think it was yeah, it was the 5th anniversary update, but I honestly kind of find version 1 and 2 to be the same. But this version, I'd honestly put all the way up below version 2 of Underwater Woods, because the map is so big, or the map was so big, which I loved it. Like the underground area that was like the little like holes in the wall, or like, yeah, the holes in the walls of the map where you could like walk into the like underground like bunker-ish areas. Like those were really cool to look through. Like I'm genuinely surprised bear didn't spawn there. I think it might have, but I'm just forgetting. But this version of the map was so much better from like how much you could look through it, and also the puzzles were fairly balanced, even though I'm pretty sure there was only 3 puzzles. I'm pretty sure there actually is, or there was 4, but I can't really remember because it's already been quite a while since I've played the old version of this map. But the second version, or the third, I don't know what you would call this. This is going to be really surprising, but I'd put it here, all the way down here. I just don't find the map as fun anymore. They made it so much smaller. It used to be so bright, which thankfully they fixed it, but I mean it's still kind of bright at times. And also the puzzles are almost so close to each other, except at the same time, thankfully it balances it out a bit from making the puzzles somewhat hard to do. But holy, this map had one of the biggest like falls in this entire game. Like, of course, they're making these maps more polished, but for some reason, Assembly, and I forgot which other map it was. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it was like Backrooms, I think. Like, Assembly and Backrooms, like, they were both good maps, but for some reason, they just became so much worse, in my opinion, because of how little you could do in the map. Like back then, it was so much bigger. Like I like bigger maps because you can actually explore through the map, and it's actually a bit more challenging to do the color, the wire, or not the wire puzzle, like any puzzle in general, pretty much. But since they made them smaller, well, not really Backrooms, but I mean it's still kind of smaller. But since they made stuff like Backrooms and Assembly so much smaller, it's so much harder to actually have a challenge on the map. Like, I hate easy maps, because you just do them in 2 seconds and then they're done. Like, I just really wish they kept Assembly as a big map, but they just didn't, which kind of disappoints me. But I mean, the map's still decent. It's not like down here, but I mean, like, it's just decently mid at best, I guess. Alright, now we have Cheese Factory, in which, even though I've seen this quite a bit in the corridor of time, I have not played Cheese Factory version 1. But for the one I have played, this is really surprising, but I'm doing the same as Assembly, but just a bit better. Because even though this map has barely been changed, if I'm right, this map is still like really fun for me. I don't know why. Like, it is so overpicked at times before like the map rotations and stuff came out. But this map is like fairly balanced, surprisingly enough. Like, Bear and Survivor are fairly far apart. The puzzles are somewhat easy, but like at the same time, a few others can actually be a bit trickier to do. And it's actually a nice map to look around. Plus, like, the hiding spots are a lot more cool on this map, even though I'm pretty sure, yeah, like, a few of the, like, hiding spots have been, like, closed off by random invisible walls, including stuff like the Atrocity area, which I'm not putting the map this high solely because of that. I just enjoy the map. Like, I thought it would be a lot worse, but I honestly just find the map enjoyable. Like, it's just a normal, enjoyable map, despite it being, like, I think like the 6th or the 7th oldest map in the game, since it came out like November of 2019, but it is still really fun despite having almost barely any changes to the map, which is genuinely surprising, so good on Cheese Factory. now we probably have the last bad map in the game, which is Crazy Port, version 1 at least, in which, yeah, I'd put it all the way in here. Like, like, I wanted to like this version, which like. This is really confusing, but somehow this map is somehow already getting nostalgic to me, which I don't know why it is. I don't want it to, but it just is. But this map was so damn bad before it got remade recently, because there was only 3 puzzles. It was so hard to do them because if the bear wasn't AFK, they would always come to you so damn quickly, and it's so annoying. And also the hiding spots, like sure they were decent, but there was almost nowhere where you could probably hide. Like unless if you were a camo or a midget, you could literally not hide on the map, which was genuinely shocking. And it's like, I really wish this map actually got like slightly expanded and also got another puzzle before it actually became good. In which, speaking of, Crazy Port version 2 literally has probably the biggest glow up of a map in the entire game, in which instead of very mid, I'd go as far to say this is an insanely good map. Like, oh my god, I am genuinely impressed and also really thankful of how well they remade the map, because there are so many new areas. There's a 4th puzzle now, so it's actually easier to do the puzzles. And also, they're not insanely easy though. They still are kind of challenging. But thank God, man, that the map doesn't take so long to finish, because it was really annoying on how long the map used to take to finish. But the current version has so many new areas. It is so much easier to actually skip time on the map because of how big the map is. And also, it just looks nice to look through. And it also kind of looks like a port now, because for some reason the old version was mainly like a town-ish area. Like, well, mainly the survivor spawn, but there was also the forest area. But this version actually looks like a port because there's an actual like boat and you can actually see the water. Which I am just super happy of how well they remade Crazy Port, and I really hope it stays like this and they don't pull like a final hour and make the map worse, except for when they changed it back. But my god, genuinely my favorite like revamp in the game. Alright, now we're getting onto the slightly newer maps, in which, even though like this map hasn't really changed as much, well, I've of course never played the Samta Winter Stronghold, but I've also never really played the version 1 of the alien from Neptune. I might have, but I literally just do not remember this map. But the current version we have, this is genuinely one of the most underrated maps in the whole game, in which I'd put it just slightly above Hospital Nightmare. Because my god, I am genuinely surprised with how little they revamped this map, even though it kind of actually did get remade like quite a bit if you look at the old icon. But they didn't really change it as much for me, honestly. And like, holy, I am still genuinely surprised of how enjoyable this map is. Like, it doesn't even feel like a Christmas map, and that's literally what this map was supposed to be. Like, I am just super impressed with how well this map still keeps up for me. Like, I am kind of sad that not much people play this map, but it is still really fun. And the fact that there's the, what is it, the alien from Neptune that actually comes out of the meteor, I'm pretty sure when there's only 2 minutes left, it is a really cool thing that there's like an actual NPC on the map that can come for you. So realistically, every round is double down. But the puzzles and the like spawns are also fairly balanced. Like, I forgot where the bear, oh wait, the bear spawns behind the house and then the survivors spawn all the way at the other house. But the puzzles are also kind of spread out. Like, sure, the wire puzzles are kind of close, like it's especially that one like down from the house's hill. But all the other puzzles are actually kind of tricky, but also easy at the same time once you know it. Like, the balancing the design of the map, and some mechanics of the map too makes it really good. And I'm genuinely surprised barely anyone played this map when it first came out, including me, because I didn't really know of the Christmas update. But either way, it's a pretty good map as it is right now. And I'm pretty sure this came out during the revisited update, which is really surprising that this was just recently. But anyways, it's still a pretty good map. Oh my god, dude. Astrophe. This map is literally the most underrated map in the game. This is such a controversial opinion of me, but this is such an underrated map in my opinion. Even though we already have tons of space maps, since we have Astrophe, Survive the Killer Bears, which is upcoming, and the newest map we have, but this is so good. The Moonwalker thing is kind of annoying to get, but it is still really enjoyable to do it. And like, it's just so fun to look through the map, even though like most of the colors of the map is literally just blue and black. But the like little things it has, like the conveyor belts, the like tube areas you can like quickly move through, and the like doors that like fly up and like fly back down after you pass through them for a little bit, is so cool. Plus the puzzles are actually not too bad on this map, and surprisingly enough, you like the wire puzzles and the cheese altar. Oh wait, no, I'm stupid. There's only one wire puzzle, because like the wire puzzle, the cheese altar, and the VHS are actually not too bad to do. And surprisingly enough, you only have to do those puzzles for the Moonwalker, because you don't do the color code, which that just like, I barely count badges for this, but I'll do it for this one, I guess. But the way like it just stacks on top of each other with the puzzles just makes it so good for some reason. Plus the spawns are so good for this map. Like, bears and survivors are fairly far apart from each other, which is like almost a one kind thing for a map in this game. And like, sure, people say it's like, oh, this map is hard to move through, oh, it's so big. I mean, that's kind of what we've been recently getting with some of the more recent maps. Like, most maps we've been getting recently are a lot bigger, but oh my god, super underrated map. Like, I said Alien from Neptune's underrated. This map is on a whole new level of underrated. It's not even funny. Like, man, I wish this map would get more recognition, but it's still fairly fine for what it is. But genuinely one of my favorite maps in the game for me, though. Really love Astrophe. Alright, next up we have is probably like, even though I said we're getting into the newer maps, this is probably the only like oldish map left in the game, except for Happy Tier, of course, or left on the tier list. But I never played the first version because, once again, I missed 4th anniversary, because that was like probably like one of the last updates that I missed before I started playing Bear Alpha again. But the current version we have is honestly a really mid map, but it's not all the way down here into really very mid, because it would have to do a lot more to be down there. But I'd honestly have this be like the top of these 3 maps, because like all these maps have something in common. Like, they just don't have as enjoyable maps anymore, even though Survive the Killer Bears is a bit different, because I never played the old version before it got revamped. I think in the I think in the revisited update, but this map is just so one-sided. Like, thankfully you can at least explore the map, and it's a pretty cool map to explore. But holy, the puzzles are so one-sided, and it's just so annoying, because the wire, like, you can literally do the wire puzzle in the crate area, and the color code might be there. Then you can walk over to the other part, and then you can literally do both the other wire puzzle and the cheese altar, and even maybe the color code. Like, the puzzles are so easy to do on this map, but at the same time, this map can rather be so survivor-sided or so bear-sided, because if survivors know the puzzles, they win, but if the bear knows the map, he wins. Like, it's just so unbalanced, and I really hope like this map honestly doesn't need remaking. Like literally the most they could do for me honestly is just add like a few more little areas and then just move the puzzles because they are so damn close to each other, and I really hope they just spread them apart, maybe in like a future update if it even happens. But it is just so unbalanced, and I really hope they change it because that if it wasn't unbalanced, this honestly would be like almost probably at the top of pretty decent, but it is just so unbalanced, and I really hope they just change it in the future. Alright, now for the actual last old map, which, even though of course I played it in the Corridor of Time, I've never really seen the old Happy Tier. But there's quite a bit to say for the current version we have of Happy Terror, in which it's almost like these three, but thankfully it's actually somewhat better, but I'm only putting it just a tad bit over the current version of Lab, because the map is still pretty good, but they made the map so much smaller from right, and they made it a lot harder to actually survive. Because I mean, the puzzles are kind of easy, because like there's not really any wire puzzles, because there's only one, of course. But that also comes to the cost of re-adding the color code. But oh my god, they got rid of so many areas in this map that probably would have made the first version go up to like here or something. I don't really know. But apparently, I know this because this map got slightly tweaked in the revisited update, but I don't count that as a third version. But they got rid of one of the walls in the house that you can actually walk through. They got rid of the secret tunnel area that was throughout the like the pink to the like purple house. Like they completely got rid of that like tunnel. And also, areas like the gob area are so much harder to like hide in, because instead of like I'm pretty sure you just walked in there back then. Now you have to climb up a ladder, in which that gives a higher chance for a bear to actually kill you easier. But holy, this map just doesn't feel balanced, but it's not like Killer Bears where it's insanely unbalanced, because it's still fairly balanced despite being a really small map. But at times it kind of can be bear-sided, because even with some skilled survivors, the map is kind of hard, in my opinion, to fully beat, which that's the main reason as to why it gets bumped down here, which I would have put it like here if it actually had like slightly easier-ish puzzles, because I mean they're not insanely hard, but they're not easy at the same time at times, because it can be really hard to do like multiple puzzles at a time because of how easy, like it is really easy for bear to find you. Except I mean they did make the forest area a bit easier to hide in, because back then it was so wide open. But holy, same with the survivor spawn. Apparently survivor spawn was shortened a lot, but they just made Happy Terror quite a bit harder, which I like but I hate at the same time, because it's like I just kind of wish they added a few traits back from its first version, but I mean the map's still decent for what it is, so yeah, not too bad. Alright, and now we probably have one of my most biased maps in the game, Lone House, in which this map doesn't feel new, but surprisingly enough, this is the newest map in the game before the recent updates we've had. But this map's honestly just Abandoned School but better. Like the map is like quite a bit different from Abandoned School, but holy, I loved the old versions, like interior, like how the map was made, because it was so wide open. I'm pretty sure this was almost the biggest map in the game. It's rather the first version of Lone House, or Astrophe's the biggest map in the game. But holy, there was like so much you can do on the map. And even though, of course, this was during autumn break when it came out, and there's the Halloween stuff, but holy, this map was just so enjoyable to explore for some reason. And sure, areas like the Red Barn were like completely removed from the map, and it was in the background before the second version came out. But this map felt so nice to explore. And it's like the maze, the cave, like it has a better cave area than Final Hour version 2, since like there's all the foggy stuff, there's more of those like puffle things. And plus, speaking of puffles, I mean, the puzzles on this map are so unique. This is probably the most unique map when it comes to puzzles, because instead of the usual puzzles, there's only one puzzle that stays relatively the same, which is the wire, not the wire puzzle, the color code. But at the same time, they move the color code instead of being horizontal to be kind of vertical, in which at least it gets changed up a bit, and it also makes it a bit trickier to do the puzzles, in which this might be the hardest map to do puzzles on. But man, back to the uniqueness of the puzzles, like squishing the puffles, the cheese altar being changed to a hot dog altar was pretty cool, and also the wire puzzles being changed into these like little gas pumps that you have to like turn. And even though it's only one thing you click, the only thing making it hard is how many times you have to click it. I'm pretty sure you have to click it like 20 times for it to actually like spin fully. But I mean, they are kind of easier than straight up wire puzzles. But holy, I love Lone House's first version. But even though it did get revamped in the second version, I'd only say like it's genuinely surprising that I'd say the first version's better, but it is literally on thin ice of how much the first version's better. Because even though the second version is so much smaller, the map is still fairly nice. They added like a few of the areas in the background actually into it. Like I know, I'm pretty sure Bear did spawn in the like giant silo towers, but you can actually go through there now. Like I mean, you could still go through there when it first came out, but you can actually like go like fully through there. Plus the red barn came back into the thing, which man, that was kind of nice, but it also does come at a cost of making stuff like the map smaller, of course. So like the maze is smaller, like survivor spawn is slightly more cramped, but not by much. And also getting rid of a few of the secret areas within the trees, but the map barely changed in my eyes. Like, even though I did kind of literally just say, like, quite a bit of the stuff that got changed, map's still really good. Also, I didn't even mention, Bear and Survivors are fairly balanced on this map. Like, even though it can, like, at very little times be kind of unbalanced, like, this map is still fairly balanced, despite honestly being one of the harder maps to do all the puzzles on. Despite only having 4, like most other maps. Alright, and now we get into the most recent maps in the game, the 2024 weekly updates, in which they did actually start off pretty strong with Captain's Cove, in which I'd put it at the top of pretty decent. Like, this map is kind of similar to Yorick's resting place, in which I do have a soft spot for the map. It's the map that kickstarted the biggest update in Bear Alpha, pretty much. Like, if you say there's a bigger update than the weekly updates we've had, then you're literally just wrong. But holy, this was a pretty good way to start off the map, or the weekly updates. But I mean, the map can actually be kind of hard to do at times, but it is honestly still really enjoyable for me to play on the map. And like the amount of things you can look through on the map, like sure, it is kind of basic because it's mainly just like tropical like forests kind of throughout the map, but the town area, the ships, and the like coral reef area, those are like really, really cool to look through. And I really am glad that they actually like made the map stay fitting with its theming. In which even though I put Hospital Nightmare Resurrection just slightly above this, I'd still say this map does have quite a few flaws because, once again, Captain's Cove and soon later Sunset Plain are the only maps in the game right now that have 3 puzzles. But at times, this map can feel really easy or really hard for both survivors and bears to win, because it's like, thankfully that's somewhat balanced-ish, but it's like, It's rather survivors can just hide somewhere that the bear will never know of, or the bears will be able to easily kill everyone in the span of a few minutes, even seconds at times. But that's probably only if they're like exploiting or something, of course. But even though the map has quite a bit of flaws, I still find the map to be really good and a really good way to kickstart probably one of the most favorited updates for this game. Which, man, I'm glad they did this map justice. Oh boy. Now we have Brick Bay Zoo. A lot of people are probably gonna scream at me if people actually care though, but holy, I'd go as far to say it's the best map in the game. This is my favorite map in the game. Like, seriously. Like, even though I am kind of biased, because I mean, I kind of like animals, but like, this map just feels so refreshing for some reason, because it's like, the music is a banger, the survivor and bear spawn is fairly balanced, and the map just feels enjoyable, like insanely enjoyable to just look through. Like, it's so nice, and I'm really happy they actually made the map insanely good for what it is. Also, the puzzles are probably some of the most balanced puzzles in the entire game, which is pretty insane. Plus, off topic though, but the puzzles do kind of make this map challenging as well. Except I don't really count the treasure hunt badges for these newer maps, but still, the areas, the puzzles, and the difficulty is so balanced, man. Like, even the spawn, dude, like, this barely happens, but even the survivor spawn looks nice to be at. Like, the elephant statue, the entrance to the zoo, the gift shop. Man, this map's just so good, even though, like, half the map's just animal cages, but still, it is such a good map. I love it, man. It's so good, so good. Easily the best map in the game for me. Alright, now, I don't know about this one. We have Sunset Plain next, in which some people might disagree quite a bit with this, but I'd honestly say this map is just like, it's slightly worse than the first version of Assembly, because it's like, in my opinion, this is honestly the weakest map from the new bunches, because like, this is honestly, like, even though we literally have a space map in summer, I still honestly find this like the most like off-topic like map that got added during the summer update. But holy, I just don't enjoy this map as much as the other three, because it's like, once again, there's three puzzles, but it somehow is worse this time, because it's like, I mean, thankfully the map is nice to look through, of course. Like, the meteors and stuff like crashing through is really cool, and also like the buildings and stuff are really cool. Same with the King's area. That's actually pretty cool, but I just can't find enjoyment on the map. Like, it's just not fun. Because I mean, it's kind of basic, even though at the same time it's not. But it's just, I don't enjoy the map as much compared to these other ones that came with it. But it doesn't mean it's terrible. It's like, it's still fairly high, as you can see where I put it, but I just don't enjoy this map as much compared to the other stuff. But still decent, but of course the weakest one out of all of these. Alright, and now we get onto the final map and the most recent map added as of the end of the 2024 weekly updates. We have Cyanotype, in which it's going in insanely good. But I would have to put it below the two remakes, because like, this is probably one of the best maps we've had as of recent times, but it's under stuff like Lone House and Brick Bay Zoo. But this is still a really good new map. Like, my only flaws with it is that like the bear spawn and the survivor spawn are balanced. Like, the puzzles are also pretty balanced, but it's like, the map almost kind of feels like System Crypt at times for me, because it's like, it feels like you're going the right way, but you don't. But at the same time, like, this is still literally the newest map in the game. But like, like most areas in this map kind of feel like samey-ish. So I mean, that's honestly one of the only flaws I have of the map, because it's kind of the samey. But I mean, everything else about it though is really good. Like the design of like the skybox of the map is pretty cool. Like the outside barriers of the map, like out there looks pretty cool. And also some of the things that you can look through that are inside the map are pretty cool. Like the cafeteria, that's kind of unexpected. The little like glass areas with like the plants and stuff, that's actually pretty cool. And then like the giant like reactor core, that's also pretty cool. But I wouldn't say the map is like up here, but I'd still say it's probably at like the bottom of here. But yeah, still pretty good map. I mean, that's it. This is my Bear Alpha map tier list. This might be a bit mixed compared to some people, and it's kind of annoying that I had to remake this tier list because the one in the damn stream didn't work, but I mean, I'm still fine with redoing this. This is kind of enjoyable to do. And also, I'm probably going to do the weekly updates tier list like a few days later after this, in which it's not just week 1, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. I'm actually rating everything that came within those, but that might not happen for quite a little bit, but still, this was a really, really good uh, tier list, in my opinion, at least. But of course, that's my opinion. If you hate this, I could care less. You could rank the tier list yourself in the description down below. In which, fun fact, I actually made this tier list. So if you want to go make this tier list, then go ahead. Because I would actually really like to see your opinions on how good or bad the maps in this game are. And also, if you want to take it a slight bit step further, then you can download your tier list and then send it to me in my Discord server, in which I'll also put the link for that in the description. So, thank you for watching my, I'd say, fairly decent tier list of all the maps we've gotten in Bear Alpha so far. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye now.